So today we got Robert Kiyosaki, most well known for famous book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the number one personal finance book of all time, and someone that has deeply changed my life and actually helped me prepare for this crisis by investing and putting the majority of my assets in gold and in silver. Ironically, we've just had the coronavirus crash and all these types of things. And today, Robert, you tweeted that never to let a good crisis go to waste, and you were going to help people prepare. And people obviously aren't prepared, and they're believing a lot of hogwash that mainstream media is teaching them. And I wanted your thoughts on everything to begin, and I was hoping you could elaborate on ways people could prepare, because obviously a lot of people are scared, and now they're starting to question the narratives they've been told.
Right. Well, that's an interesting question, because the crisis is actually inside your head. And the crisis begins when your mommy and daddy and the school system tell you to go to school, get a job, work hard, pay taxes, get out of debt, save money, and invest for the long term in a well-diversified portfolio of stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and ETFs. If you don't change those thoughts, you're probably sitting at home wondering right now, Jesus, where am I going to find my next job? What am I going to invest in? My savings are all gone. Well, how can I save money when they're printing money? Until you change that gap between your left ear and your right ear, or your right ear and your left ear, as the case may be, you'll get the same results. So I'm not against school. I'm not against education. I am against lying to people. And that is what in neuro-linguistic programming called an embedded command. Go to school, get a job, work hard, pay taxes, save money, get out of debt, and invest for the long term in a well-diversified portfolio of stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. You don't change that, you're screwed.
So let's talk about specifically how to go about changing that. What is the advice that when you say don't let a good crisis go to waste and you're discussing how to prepare, what are the ways that you do begin to change that if you are an individual that is starting to question things and is starting to question the narrative?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that it's your education. And what I mean by education is what were you taught? And like I am a U.S. Marine. And as Jack Nicholson said in that movie, A Few Good Men, is you can't handle the truth. And I think that's the truth. Most people the Marine Corps had a scientific word for it. It was called pussies. Most people are pussies. I am too. And don't get me wrong. That's why I joined the U.S. Marine Corps, because I was a wimp, a puss. I was a surfer kid from Hawaii. And I was flunking out of school. I was incompetent, bad attitude, sitting in the back of the room. When the surf was up, I'm sitting in my classroom looking at the surf going, why am I here? Why am I sitting in this classroom, basically not learning a damn thing? So it wasn't education, it's my attitude, as you know that. If you don't change your attitude, you're hosed. So that's why it always begins in your head, the way you look at the world and all that. So I realized me looking out the window at the surf, especially in the wintertime, because in the winters when the swells come in from the north, from out of Alaska and all that, that's when the big waves are in. So I've been sitting in my little classroom, I'm 17 years old, and going, why am I here? I should be on the waves. And that was the problem. So if I don't handle my own temptation, you know what I mean? Like, I like to screw off. That's what I had to change. I want to do my own thing. So I went to I got 2 nominations to 2 academies, United States Naval Academy at Annapolis, Maryland, and U.S. Merchant Marine Academy at Kings Point, New York. I took Kings Point because we're the highest paid graduates in the world. It had nothing to do with the money. It had to do with discipline. And once I found discipline at the academy, I went on to the Marine Corps. And I flew for the Marine Corps in Vietnam. But the reason I'm a rich man is because I'm able to control, the attitude, the discipline. So, when I see somebody who's unhappy, fat, out of shape, poor, they have problems. It's inside of them. Lack of discipline. And the one thing the academy taught me, there's two kinds of discipline. Either you discipline yourself or the world disciplines you. So if right now you're sitting at home, wondering about this coronavirus and wondering about job security and all that, if you don't find some discipline or religion or whatever you want to call it to handle yourself, you're screwed. You know that? I know that. I have my own problems. I got massive, massive problems. So it's how you handle them. And that's really where it starts. So if you're looking in the mirror right now, you're going, well, how did I get here? Why am I sitting at home afraid of losing my job, or I've lost my job, or I'm broke and all that? Well, just look in the mirror. It's not about Trump or Pence or, the economy or Bernie or Biden. It's nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with Corona. Right now, I'm making more money than I ever have in my whole life, but I prepared for it. I still have problems, but I prepared for this time. So that's what I teach. No more than that. It's not really about financial education. It's financial transformation. Transformation is the word metamorphosis. You look at metamorphosis in the dictionary. Metamorphosis is the transformation from immature model to an adult model, from immaturity to adult. Metamorphosis is what happens when a worm turns into a butterfly. So if you're sitting at home right now and you're still a worm,